She walks into the room and every head turns. The kind of woman who makes conversation stop mid-sentence. The kind who has an Instagram following that could populate a small city. The kind who could have any man she wants with a single glance. And yet, there he is beside her. The man who looks like he was assembled from spare parts. The man whose face could stop traffic, but not in a good way. The man who dresses like he shops exclusively in gas station convenience stores. You've seen this phenomenon everywhere. The nightclub, the coffee shop, your workplace, your own social circle. You stand there, confused, maybe even angry, asking yourself the same question that has haunted men since the beginning of time. How does this happen? How does the woman who could date celebrities end up with someone who looks like he crawled out from under a bridge? Today, I'm going to shatter every illusion you have about attraction, beauty, and what women actually want. Because the answer to this mystery will change everything you think you know about the game between men and women. Walk through any mall, any restaurant, any social gathering, and you'll witness what I call the great mismatch. Beautiful women paired with men who look like they lost a fight with genetics. It's so common, so predictable, that it's become invisible to most observers. But once you see the pattern, you cannot unsee it. This isn't accident. This isn't coincidence. This is the result of fundamental forces at work in human attraction that operate beneath the surface of what we think we understand about desire. Forces that have nothing to do with fairness, nothing to do with what should happen, and everything to do with what actually works. The ugly man has discovered something that handsome men remain blind to. That women don't choose men based on a beauty contest. They choose based on who makes them feel most alive, most valued, most completely seen. And the man who looks like he fell out of the ugly tree and hit every branch on the way down often masters this skill, while the handsome man never needs to develop it. Here's the brutal truth about the dating marketplace. Ugly men are desperate, and desperation breeds innovation. When you can't rely on your jawline to open doors, you learn to pick locks with your personality. When your face isn't doing any favours, your mouth better be working overtime. The ugly man understands that he's operating from a position of perceived weakness, so he compensates by developing actual strength in areas that matter more than most men realise. He becomes a student of female psychology not by choice, but by necessity. He studies what makes women laugh, what makes them think, what makes them feel understood, what makes them feel special. Meanwhile, the handsome man coasts on his genetic lottery win. He approaches women like a man with a trust fund approaches work. He shows up, does the minimum, and expects maximum results because resources have always been available without effort. He's never had to develop the skills that create lasting attraction because surface-level attraction has always been enough to get him started. But here's where the plot thickens. Getting started and going the distance are entirely different games. The handsome man is playing checkers while the ugly man has mastered chess. In the attention economy, ugly men and beautiful women create the perfect market inefficiency. Beautiful women are swimming in low-quality attention, the kind that focuses on their bodies, their faces, their Instagram photos. They're starving for high-quality attention, the kind that focuses on their thoughts, their dreams, their fears, their complexity as human beings. Ugly men, denied access to the casual dating market that handsome men dominate, have no choice but to compete in the premium attention market. They can't get by with surface-level charm, so they develop deep-level connection skills. They can't win on first impressions, so they master the art of lasting impressions. This creates a supply and demand imbalance that works in the ugly man's favour. While handsome men are fighting over who gets to give beautiful women more of the same shallow attention they already have too much of, the ugly man corners the market on the scarce commodity. Genuine interest in who she is beyond what she looks like. The beautiful woman finds herself in the strange position of having her deepest needs met by the man who appears least capable of meeting any needs at all. She discovers that the man who couldn't attract her with his appearance has attracted her with something far more powerful, his ability to make her feel truly seen. Handsome men hunt like well-fed lions, casually, confidently, with the luxury of being selective about when and how they exert effort. They can afford to be lazy hunters because prey is abundant. Ugly men hunt like starving wolves, intensely, strategically, with every fibre of their being focused on the task at hand. They can't afford to be lazy because opportunities are scarce. This hunger creates a predatory advantage that has nothing to do with looks and everything to do with intensity. The beautiful woman, accustomed to being pursued by men who treat her like an interesting option, among many options, suddenly encounters a man who treats her like the only option worth considering. The handsome man's attention feels casual because it is casual. He's hedging his bets, keeping his options open, maintaining emotional distance in case something better comes along. His very attractiveness gives him leverage, and leverage creates distance. The ugly man's attention feels total because it is total. He's not hedging, not maintaining options, not keeping distance. He's all in, and women can sense this completeness of focus like animals sense weather changes. This intensity isn't neediness, it's dedication. The needy man wants something from her. The dedicated man wants something for her. The needy man drains her energy. The dedicated man amplifies it. The needy man makes her feel guilty. The dedicated man makes her feel grateful. Beautiful women live in a visual world where men speak to their eyes but rarely to their ears. They're surrounded by men who comment on their appearance, but have nothing meaningful to say about anything else. Into this desert of superficial communication walks the ugly man with an oasis of actual conversation. The ugly man has learned that women don't just want to be seen, they want to be heard. More than that, they want to be understood. They want someone who listens not just to respond, but to comprehend. Someone who asks follow-up questions, who remembers details from previous conversations, who treats their words as treasures worth collecting and examining. While handsome men are relying on their visual impact to carry conversations, ugly men are developing verbal weapons of mass attraction. They learn to tell stories that captivate, ask questions that intrigue, make observations that surprise. They discover that the right words at the right moment can create more chemistry than perfect cheekbones ever could. The timing of these words becomes crucial. The ugly man studies momentum like a day trader studies market patterns. He learns when she's most receptive to humour, when she needs encouragement, when she wants intellectual stimulation, when she craves emotional depth. He becomes a master of conversational timing because his success depends on it. Every woman carries an invisible mirror that shows her how she appears to the world. Most men, especially handsome ones, reflect back only her beauty. They hold up mirrors that say, "You're attractive, you're desirable, you're worth pursuing." But beauty is something she already knows she possesses. Having it confirmed again and again becomes redundant, even boring. The ugly man holds up a different mirror. His mirror reflects her intelligence, her wit, her depth, her complexity, her uniqueness as a human being. He shows her aspects of herself that others miss or ignore. He reflects back her value as a complete person, rather than just a beautiful object. This different reflection becomes addictive. The beautiful woman discovers that she enjoys seeing herself as interesting, not just attractive. She likes being valued for her thoughts, not just her appearance. She finds it refreshing to be appreciated for qualities that she developed, rather than qualities she inherited. The handsome man's mirror tells her what she already knows about herself. The ugly man's mirror reveals what she hoped was true about herself but rarely had confirmed. One validates her genetics, the other validates her essence. One makes her feel pretty, the other makes her feel precious. If you're starting to understand how this psychological dynamic works and want to master these principles yourself, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. The insights I'm sharing today took me years to decode, and there's much more depth to explore in upcoming videos about the hidden psychology of attraction. Ugly men who succeed with beautiful women belong to an exclusive fraternity. Not exclusive by choice, but by circumstance. They've been forced to develop skills that their more attractive counterparts never need to acquire. They've become black belts in human psychology, while handsome men remain amateurs throwing wild punches. This brotherhood operates by different rules. They understand that first impressions are often wrong impressions. They know that the most important conversations happen after the initial attraction fades. They've learned that sustainability beats intensity, that depth trumps surface appeal, that consistency outperforms charisma. They study women the way scholars study ancient texts, carefully, thoroughly, with genuine curiosity about what lies beneath the surface. They ask better questions because they need better answers. They listen more carefully because they can't afford to miss important details. They remember more completely because they can't waste any opportunity to demonstrate value. While handsome men are playing the short game of immediate attraction, ugly men are playing the long game of lasting connection. They're building foundations while others are creating fireworks. They're investing in appreciation while others are trading in desire. In the twisted economics of attraction, those who need to chase become skilled at running, while those who expect to be chased never develop the muscles required for pursuit. Handsome men, accustomed to being pursued, never learn the art of effective pursuit. Ugly men, forced to do the chasing, become Olympic-level pursuers. But here's the crucial distinction. Effective pursuit isn't about desperation or persistence. It's about precision. The ugly man doesn't chase harder, he chases smarter. He doesn't pursue more frequently, he pursues more strategically. He doesn't want her more, he understands her better. The handsome man pursues like a tourist following a guidebook, hitting the obvious spots, taking the standard photos, having the typical experiences. The ugly man pursues like an explorer discovering new territory, finding hidden treasures, creating unique memories, building something that didn't exist before. This creates a fundamental imbalance in relationship dynamics. The beautiful woman finds herself being pursued by someone who has elevated pursuit to an art form, while her other options involve men who expect her to be grateful for their minimal effort. The choice becomes obvious: mediocre attention from attractive men, or masterful attention from the unattractive man who has turned attention-giving into a specialized skill. The ugly man approaches relationships like a sophisticated investor, approaches the stock market. He doesn't day trade on looks, he makes long-term investments in emotional connection. He understands that while physical attraction might spike quickly like a trending stock, emotional bonds compound like carefully chosen blue-chip investments. He invests time in understanding her communication patterns, her emotional rhythms, her intellectual interests, her creative passions. He studies these elements like a portfolio manager studies market fundamentals. He's not looking for quick gains, he's building sustainable growth that will appreciate over time. While the handsome man is diversifying his attention across multiple options, the ugly man is concentrating his investment in thorough research and deep understanding of one woman. He's going all in on comprehensive knowledge rather than surface-level familiarity with many prospects. This concentrated investment strategy creates what economists call barriers to entry. The more he learns about her specific needs, preferences, dreams and fears, the higher the wall becomes for any potential competitor. A new handsome man might enter her orbit, but he starts from zero while the ugly man has already built years of accumulated emotional equity. Beautiful women are like archaeological sites layered with hidden treasures that most excavators never bother to uncover. They carry secrets about their intelligence, creativity, ambitions, fears, and dreams that go far deeper than their physical appearance. Most men never dig past the surface because they're satisfied with what's immediately visible. The ugly man becomes an emotional archaeologist. He excavates layers of personality that have been buried under years of people relating to her primarily through her appearance. He discovers the intellectual hiding behind the influencer, the artist masked by the socialite, the philosopher disguised as the party girl. This archaeological process is intoxicating for the woman, because she gets to rediscover forgotten parts of herself through his curiosity. Aspects of her personality that have been dormant suddenly spring to life under his attention. She remembers interests she abandoned, dreams she shelved, talents she neglected because no one seemed interested in anything beyond her looks. The handsome man sees her as a finished sculpture to be admired. The ugly man sees her as a masterpiece still being carved, with new details emerging through each conversation, each shared experience, each moment of genuine connection. He's not just dating her, he's collaborating in the ongoing creation of who she's becoming. There's a universe of difference between obsession and devotion that most people fail to recognize. Obsession consumes and controls. Devotion nurtures and liberates. Obsession takes energy. Devotion generates it. Obsession is about the obsessed person's needs. Devotion is about recognizing and honoring someone else's value. The ugly man who succeeds has mastered devotion without falling into obsession. His devotion has texture, nuance, intelligence. It's not the flat worship of a fanboy, but the rich appreciation of a connoisseur who has developed sophisticated taste through necessity and experience. He remembers stories she told months ago and references them naturally in current conversations. He notices changes in her mood before she mentions them and responds appropriately. He celebrates her victories with genuine enthusiasm and mourns her setbacks as if they were his own losses. This isn't neediness, it's mastery of emotional intelligence. The beautiful woman experiences this devotion like a plant, experiences perfect growing conditions. Most of her relationships have been transactional, her beauty exchanged for attention, status, or resources. But his devotion is transformational. It changes how she sees herself, how she moves through the world, how she believes she deserves to be treated by everyone. Here's where the psychology gets truly fascinating. Beautiful women are tired of being status symbols. They're exhausted by men who see them as trophies to display rather than people to know. The handsome man often approaches her as if she's a luxury car he's considering adding to his collection. Impressive to own, nice to show off, but ultimately valuable for what she represents rather than who she is. The ugly man, by contrast, can't use her as a status symbol because their pairing defies conventional status logic. This liberates both of them from the performance anxiety that plagues conventional attractive couples. She doesn't have to worry about being arm candy. She can simply be herself. He doesn't have to maintain an image of deserving her. He can focus on actually deserving her through his actions and attention. This reversal creates authentic intimacy. When you remove the social performance aspect of relationships, what remains is raw human connection. The beautiful woman discovers what it's like to be with someone who genuinely prefers her company to the impression her presence makes on others. The ugly man gets to experience being valued for his character rather than dismissed for his appearance. Beautiful women exist in a paradox of abundance and scarcity. They have abundant access to male attention, but scarce access to male attention that feels authentic, meaningful, or focused on their inner world. They're surrounded by men who desire them, but starved for men who understand them. The ugly man has identified this market inefficiency and positioned himself to solve it. While other men compete to give her more of what she already has too much of, surface-level admiration, he provides what she desperately lacks: genuine fascination with her mind, her personality, her dreams, her fears. This scarcity creates powerful psychological bonds. The woman begins to associate the ugly man with feelings she can't get anywhere else: being truly seen, deeply understood, authentically appreciated. He becomes not just her romantic partner, but her emotional sanctuary, the one place where she can drop the performance of being beautiful and simply exist as herself. Handsome men often rely on sporadic bursts of charm and attention, knowing their physical appeal will carry them through the gaps. They can afford to be inconsistent because their baseline attractiveness provides a buffer. The ugly man operates under no such luxury. He must be consistently excellent in his attention, his conversation, his emotional presence. This necessity breeds reliability that beautiful women find intoxicating. She knows that when she's with him, she'll receive his full attention. When she speaks, he'll truly listen. When she needs support, he'll be genuinely present. This consistency creates a foundation of trust that sporadic charm, no matter how intense, cannot match. The beautiful woman begins to crave this reliability. After years of dealing with men whose attention wavers based on their mood, their options, or their circumstances, she discovers the profound comfort of someone whose focus on her remains steady regardless of external factors. The ugly man doesn't just listen to what she says, he excavates what she means. He digs beneath her words to understand her motivations, her fears, her hidden dreams. When she mentions being tired, he explores whether she means physically exhausted or emotionally drained. When she talks about work stress, he investigates whether it's the workload or the workplace dynamics that trouble her. This archaeological approach to conversation creates depth that most relationships never achieve. The beautiful woman finds herself having thoughts she's never articulated, exploring emotions she's never examined, revealing aspects of herself she's never shared. The ugly man becomes her guide in self-discovery, helping her uncover layers of her own personality. The process is mutually enriching. As he helps her discover herself, she helps him understand the complexity of human nature. Their conversations become expeditions into uncharted emotional territory, with each discovery strengthening their bond and deepening their connection. When a beautiful woman is truly seen and appreciated by someone who had to work to develop the ability to see and appreciate her deeply, it creates revolutionary changes throughout her entire life. She begins expecting more meaningful conversations from everyone. She starts valuing her own thoughts and opinions more highly. She develops standards for treatment that go beyond surface-level charm. This transformation often makes her less accessible to the casual attention of handsome men who haven't developed deeper connection skills. She's been educated by depth and can no longer be satisfied by shallowness. She's experienced what it feels like to be truly known and can no longer tolerate being merely admired from a distance. The ugly man hasn't just won her affection, he's upgraded her entire operating system. He's elevated her standards for human connection to a level that most men, regardless of their physical attractiveness, cannot meet without serious personal development. He's created a woman who values substance over style, depth over beauty, authentic connection over chemical attraction. She becomes living proof that there are levels of intimacy and connection that transcend physical appearance. She demonstrates through her choices that the most satisfying relationships are built on mutual understanding rather than mutual attraction, on emotional compatibility rather than visual compatibility. The ugly man understands timing like a master conductor understands music. He knows when to speak and when to create space for her words. He recognizes when she needs encouragement and when she needs challenge. He senses when the moment is right for humor and when seriousness is required. This mastery of timing comes from necessity. Unlike handsome men who can recover from poor timing through sheer physical appeal, the ugly man must get the rhythm right or risk losing her attention entirely. This pressure transforms him into a student of momentum, a scholar of emotional flow, a master of conversational dynamics. He learns to read her energy levels, her stress patterns, her emotional weather systems. He discovers that the same words delivered at different times can have completely different effects. He develops an almost supernatural ability to say the right thing at the right moment in the right tone. The beautiful woman finds this temporal sensitivity incredibly attractive because it's so rare in her experience. Most men bulldoze through conversations without regard for her emotional state or receptivity. The ugly man dances with her moods, harmonizes with her rhythms, creates conversational symphonies rather than just making noise. The greatest victory of the ugly man isn't simply winning the beautiful woman, it's the mutual transformation that occurs in the process. She evolves beyond being merely beautiful to becoming genuinely interesting, complex, and fully realized as a human being. He transcends his physical limitations to become valuable, irreplaceable, and powerful in ways that have nothing to do with appearance. Together, they prove that the most profound connections happen not between people who look perfect together, but between people who bring out the best in each other. They demonstrate that true attraction isn't about matching physical features, but about complementary souls that enhance each other's existence. Their relationship becomes a living testament to the power of genuine attention, authentic interest, and skilled emotional connection. They show the world that beauty might catch the eye, but only character can capture the heart. That physical attraction might start relationships, but only emotional attraction can sustain them through time, change, and challenge. The ugly man's triumph teaches every man a crucial lesson. Your face might determine who notices you first, but your character determines who stays. Beauty might open doors, but only authenticity can build homes worth living in. Physical appeal might create initial interest, but only emotional intelligence can create lasting love. That's why ugly men get beautiful women. Not despite their lack of conventional attractiveness, but because that lack forced them to develop abilities that matter more than appearance in the long game of human connection. They learned to win hearts instead of eyes, to capture souls instead of glances, to build love instead of just inspiring lust. In a world obsessed with surface-level attraction, they discovered the secret of depth-level connection. And that knowledge, hard-won through necessity and refined through practice, proves to be the most attractive quality of all. If this breakdown of the psychology behind attraction has opened your eyes to how human connection really works, subscribe to this channel for more insights into the hidden dynamics that govern relationships. Hit that notification bell because understanding these patterns could transform how you approach every interaction with women. Share this video with any man who needs to understand that success in relationships isn't about what you were born with. It's about what you choose to develop. The ugly man's victory isn't just personal, it's philosophical. It proves that in the deepest game of human connection, character beats genetics, substance trumps surface, and genuine interest conquers superficial appeal every single time.